Hi, Dove Gordon here again in my trademark low-key way. Today I'm going to share with you Chapter 3 of The Simple Secrets of Gordian Knot Management. Chapter 3 is called Time Alchemy, and we're going to look at how to think about your work so that others become insanely jealous of how much you get done. Now, obviously, you and I don't really care whether anybody becomes insanely jealous or not. The point is that we want to be getting more done. I'm assuming you want to be more influential. Not in the, not by force so much as by example. I'm assuming that you want to be able to say a few words and see that a lot happens, a lot gets done. And if that's true for you at all, then you need to look at this time alchemy. If you've already seen Chapter 1, then you know that everything I'm about is about striking at the root. Most people are out there hacking at the leaves. You and I, we strike at the root. We want to get at the underlying structure so that we can leverage it and we can direct it. We saw in Chapter 1 where I shared with you the story of how one CEO resolved an unresolvable conflict, and if you haven't yet seen it, I urge you to go back and have another look. What you saw there is that there are so many issues that suck up your time which cannot be resolved with time management. And therefore it's worth having a look at that because time management and time management approaches are really very limited. Most time management systems will help people have some success, but not nearly as much as they hope. And I think the reason is because they're very tactical. They're very focused on the details. Very few people have the big picture. And that's what I'm going to share with you in this short 10 to 15 minute video. I'm going to help you see the big picture. We're going to marry the details, the tactical details, together with the big picture. And every time I show this to somebody, their eyes open wide. It's like a light bulb goes off and they say, now I get it. That's it. Now I understand. Because there's so many people out there claiming that they have the best system. And I'll tell you something, there is no best system. What will really set you apart in everything you do is when you take a really good system, but because you have a deep understanding of the fundamentals, what really lies beneath the surface, as we talked about in Chapter 1, you can take any good system and make it exceptional. And that's what this whole Gordian knot training is all about. Now, just a very quick review of one key point. We talked about how clear thinking is your most valuable work. And in order to think clearly, you've got to see certain things. What you see will affect what you think about. What you think about will affect the decisions that you make, which of course will affect the actions that you take and the results that you get. Just a quick reminder before we move into this, because what I'm going to do is help you see things that affect your time management that you probably have not seen before. Chapter 3 here, this is an excerpt from the Alchemist Entrepreneur's Crash Course in Advanced Management Skills, which is a course that I'll be unrolling or unveiling again in a few days or a week, depending on when you see this. Make sure that you, if you like this video, make sure that you register for more information so that you can be alerted. And Chapter 4 is coming soon. You're probably not going to want to miss that as well. Now, there are 5 little areas here, 5 underlying structures that we're going to be looking at, beginning on the left side and then moving to the right side. So we begin with passion, belief, energy, confidence. Everybody is different over here. And that's really your source of power. Your source of power is when you're really clear as to what are you passionate about. What do you really believe you have an ability to impact? What energizes you? Where do you have confidence? Not where you lack the confidence, but where do you have the confidence that you can build on it? That's really what makes you unique, and that's the place to begin. Because it's this passion that leads to you to formulate, to choose what your strategic objectives will be. And your strategic objectives will break down into projects. The projects will then break down into tasks, and the tasks will then go on your calendar. Now, when you push you away from left to right, which is the hard work, you automatically end up rolling from right to left, which is the easy and enjoyable work and results. When you do the things that are on your calendar, what happens is the tasks get done. As the tasks are done, the projects are completed. As your projects are completed, your strategic objectives are achieved. And the thing here is that since you started from left and went to right and now you're moving back, you're day in and day out, you're working on the things that you really care about, the things you really enjoy. What we've done here is we've just moved those 5 up a bit. And what we can see is that each of these have associated tools and disciplines. Let's have a look at each one in turn. So passion and so on. What we need to be really clear in our own minds as to what gets us going, what's really important to us. And the problem is that for most of us it's not clear. And when we have these, from time to time, we have this burst of clarity, this flash of clarity. The thing is that we need to hold on to it. We need to capture it, put it in a bottle so that we can take it out whenever we need it. And we take it out, the way we take it out is by creating these little rituals, these little routines or reminders. Now, this could be something as simple as changing how you sit, how you stand, how you breathe, acting as if you are everything you want to be, whatever it is for you. It could be just writing a few ideas on a card that you review a few times throughout the day. Whatever it's going to be for you, that's the discipline is actually using it. Okay, so the tool is to create some kind of ritual, some kind of routine, reminder, and the discipline is to actually use it. The second stage here is strategic objectives. Strategic objectives, the tools here are perception and most importantly, the strategy framework. Now, I'm going to tease you a little bit here because this is a big topic and I'm only going to touch on a little bit of it. Not only that, but there's a little visual depiction of this, which would be make it a lot clearer for you. I'm going to give that to you. All you need to do is just ask me for it in the comment section below, because I want to interact with you. I don't want to just be lecturing. I want to know what's working for you, what you find to be interesting, what I have not yet addressed that would be helpful for you. And therefore, I want to encourage you to just post a comment, and then I will send that to you if that's what you want. But there are 4 fundamental strategic questions, and many people like to complicate this, but don't allow them to. Okay, let's get right to the root. When you're formulating your company's strategy, it boils down to 4 questions. Number 1, what products and services are you going to offer and not offer? Number 2, what markets are you going to serve and not serve? In other words, what will characterize your customers? Number 3, what will be your competitive advantage and what will it not be? A better way of asking that, I prefer, is what perception do you need to create in the minds of your target market, right, so that they want to buy from you? And number 4, what are the small number of areas where you need to be really excellent? 2 or 3 areas. And the reason is because when you're excellent in those areas, you'll be creating that competitive advantage that you described in question 3. And when you create that advantage, that perception that you described in question 3, the people you talked about in question 2 are going to perceive you as, hey, that's the ones we want to do business with. And then they will go and buy the products and services that you described in question 1. And the tools here are what we said. The discipline is to decide. There are too many businesses, from the very smallest to number one person to the largest with thousands of employees and hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars in sales. They just do not decide who we are, what we stand for. There's too much just in different directions. The discipline is to decide. And of course, we talk more about this in the crash course. Now, the tools for projects, you've got to have a project list. And you got to have some kind of project management system. The reason for the list, of course, is to prioritize the various projects, and the system will help you plan it and delegate it. You know, this is really important, and people kind of brush past this. It does not need to be a complicated project management system. A lot of times I just use a simple notebook. What you do need to do is to really understand the components, the pieces, the geography, the structure that lies beneath a good system so that you can, whatever situation you're in, you know what you have to make it do. And we're going to cover this in more depth in Chapter 4, which again is called the critical 10% of management skills that make you look brilliant 90% of the time. In Chapter 4, I'm going to share with you what I consider to be the 4 key management activities, the 4 things that you are doing literally 90 to 99% of the time. Almost everything you're doing will fit into one of these, and when you start to see it, your leverage is tremendous because you're striking at the root. So stay tuned for that. Then we have tasks. The tools for tasks are lists. You need to have some various task lists. You need to have lists where you can put them. You can organize the list any way you want, by the project, by the type of work, it's a phone call, or by the computer. By priority, by location, where you do it, like you said, at the computer, in your car, or in the office, at home. You gotta have task lists and experiment with just to find what works for you. But the purpose is that you've got to have a place to write down tasks when you think about them or when you realize you need to do it. The discipline here is you got to review the list. Review it weekly, daily, every other day. The key is that make sure you just review it. Calendar, the tool, of course, is to have a calendar. Now, the role of the calendar is that you take a task. When a task has to be done, when you're going to put time into that task, you then write it in and put it in, block off some time on your calendar to get it done. Another tool you need is a filing system. Now, whatever that means is it could be for filing emails, for filing papers. What we mean is that everything that you touch, everything you're involved with has to have a home, has to have a place to go, because something that wastes an awful lot of our time is when we really have to do something, but we don't know where it goes. We don't have a place for it. And then we have to stop and think, okay, where should I put this? What should I do with this? What should be the next step? Often the next step is, well, I'll decide another time because right now I'm too busy, too overwhelmed, and I can't think about it right now. And then the pile gets deeper, and we become a little more stressed because we know we're just not dealing with a lot of different things. The discipline hereof is that you want to put only 3 important tasks on your calendar every day. 3 important tasks for 90 minutes apiece. If you do that, and you work with focus and do not allow yourself to be interrupted, then what's going to happen is that you can spend the rest of your day reacting to emails, to phone calls, returning phone calls, and so on, and you will still get a lot more done than you're getting today. Well, notice what we have here. We almost have a map, right? This is the underlying structure. Everything, whatever you're doing in your business, fits somewhere here. And the key is now that you can ask yourself and say, okay, what's the problem that I find myself coming up against most? And it's going to fall in 1 or 2 of these boxes. There's going to be a bottleneck. Could be you need work in all of them, but there's going to be 1 or 2 which is the real bottleneck, and that's the place to start working. Where it's the greatest constraint. That's what you're looking for. So which one is it, and what are you going to do next? Make that decision now. Don't put it off. Just pick one thing. There is no right answer, so just pick one thing that you think will influence all the other areas, everything else that you're doing, and decide you're going to do something about it, and then put it on your calendar, okay? Now, chapter 1, if you didn't see it, I urge you to go see it. It's called How to Strike at the Root While Everyone Else is Hacking at the Leaves. It's free. There's a link beneath this video, so you can just go and watch it. You do not need to register for anything, and it's been getting some really good response. Chapter 2 is also free for a limited time, and then it goes back to $149. That's called How to Win Your Customers' Hearts by Reading Their Minds. You can register for that because we do protect that behind a digital wall. You can get your free ticket on the same page as Chapter 1 at the bottom. Just scroll down, fill in that little form. Make sure to keep the checkbox checked so that we can send you your password. You will be added to an email list. You can, of course, always unsubscribe. And even when you unsubscribe, you'll still be able to access the videos, so you really have no reason not to go and get it. Then this is Chapter 3 today, and coming soon is going to be Chapter 4, which we mentioned again is the critical 10% of management skills that make you look brilliant 90% of the time. One final request. If you like this, retweet it. Share it on Facebook. Send it out to your email list. Tell people about it. I appreciate that, and I thank you in advance. If you yourself have your own community of entrepreneurs, of small company CEOs, be in touch with me because perhaps there's a way that you and I can collaborate. Well, now let's get to work. What are you going to do differently? What did you learn from this? What questions do you still have? And please share that in the comment section below. I'll see you down below in the comments.